All right, time to do a video on this guy. Just got him in the other day. This is obviously the Transformers Studio Series from Transformers the movie. Though to be quite honest, I don't remember seeing him in the movie. I could be wrong. Might have a very short part. It's been a while since I watched the movie. And this is Shockwave. And as I understand it, this is like some of the other Studio Series. It's not a new mold. But basically an updated or some kind of repaint of a previous version. And I do vaguely recall seeing this, but I think maybe there are a few things that were coloring of the purple I think was different. Maybe some of the colors. I think this might have been purple as well. I forget. Like it stood out less as a backpack on him. You can't see it so much here, but when this goes to the back, I think it should be more purple because I don't think he has like a big silver backpack in, in the show or even in general. But it is what it is, and I think what else is new is maybe this little miniature gun version of kind of himself, and you can see here. It's funny. I guess they're trying to show that this is the same thing, but they have this thing about not trying to represent handguns or some sort of firearm or weapons. Well, although plenty of the Transformers have blasters, but they can't necessarily transform into, I guess, something that's maybe close to a scale of a real gun. But although this is basically this upside down, right? Doesn't this, you can see that, right? I mean, this does not look like any kind of real gun. Megatron, on the other hand, I can understand, because he does look like a real gun, or at least he's supposed to. Like was it a Walter P-38 or is it 39? The exact number. I think I want to say it's P-38. But yeah, now he's only a tank, unfortunately. And yeah, at least as far as Hasbro Takara Tomy is concerned in reproducing Megatron, I don't think they'll ever do it as a gun. I think the last time was the Masterpiece series, like quite a while ago. Other than that, most of the other iterations have been some sort of tank form. It's kind of funny because in itself that's like a huge weapons platform. But anyways, yeah, I've been wanting to get a Shockwave back into my collection for a while. I haven't had one. I don't think I've had one since ever. Like, well, I used to have a Shockwave back in the 80s when Transformers was originally out, but it wasn't a genuine like Transformer one with a purple. It was like either it was the original color or maybe some off-brand that was where it was like gunmetal or gray, and yeah, he didn't have the Decepticon logos, and he didn't look like how he's represented in the Transformer show or the comic book for that matter. But at least I had him. But what was weak about that is, if you remember that the old G1 toy, the trigger stuck out the front, which right around his torso, which is kind of funny because where it's at is so close to let's say this private region, and it basically looks like a robotic erection in a way. But that's how they had it, just this trigger sticking right out from around that area, not as low but still, and it was really prone to breaking. This plastic and just that area is just very exposed, and I think I did end up breaking mine, but it was glued it back. But then you got to be so careful if you transform to a gun, and in general just pulling on it, that it doesn't just snap, break right off again. But I'm gonna get to opening this and check them out a little closer. All right, so here we go. Looking pretty good. See if these frames up okay in here. And yeah, I dig some fingerprints. I was test transforming them. So yeah, he comes with this little gun here of himself, basically, more or less. The only thing is missing would be, usually he had this like transparent piece that flipped up on the back. We'll see that in a little bit when we transform him. But you can hold like a gun of himself, but which is kind of stupid. I think this would work with another Decepticon or something that can hold him and use it as a weapon, not him holding himself. It's kind of weird. So leave that aside. This is what we're used to seeing, because I am, with a Shockwave. Let me just angle this slightly down. And yeah, I think what looks good is the piping in the eyes here. You can see. Let me bring it up closer. Looks like it glows really nicely, and if I cover up the top, you can see how much dimmer it is. I mean, it's pretty darn effective, which works really nicely. And it's not that obvious too on the top, which is good. So I really like that. And this head can move up and down slightly, left and right, of course, and slight head tilt as well. But that's him, and that's his head. And then what we got here is, the wrist can swivel, and so can this cannon hand. Yeah, but which is kind of pointless, really, but it can. And let's see, he can swivel his arms, pivot it out like that, or swivel, how you want to call it. Bends pretty well, arms out, shoulders up too, but you can mess around with that. And what else? He does turn at the waist, which is nice. It's always good to have that extra bit of articulation. You can get them in just a little bit better pose, more dynamic because of that. Legs obviously go back and forth, nothing coming in the way. The knees are ratcheted, which is kind of good. And then the ankles kind of angle a bit, but they don't I don't believe they like move like this, like up and down or forward and backwards, like that. It's just only to the side, which is fine, because you're going to want to probably, because of how wide his legs are, probably going to give him a wider stance anyways. And we'll just have a look at him. So this is his backpack, I guess. To make it more accurate, it should really be the same color as his body, but I suppose in when he becomes a blaster mode, or whatever the spaceship form is, the front of that part, or the can, whatever, it should have been, I believe it is supposed to be silver, or something of that nature, as far as I can vaguely recall from the G1 toy and stuff. And speaking of which, it's nice having this detail inside here. Whoops. Just grab it in closer. And just a greebling, just all the circuitry and stuff, which is kind of a nod or throwback, whatever you call it, to like how it used to be in the old toy. Like there's actually, I believe, some functioning like circuitry board inside here that was part of the electronics, if I'm not mistaken. And again, he doesn't have that stupid trigger coming out, since he doesn't technically transform into a gun anymore. And that's fine, because most of the time we see him in this form anyways. So and I think he looks better like this. So we get into a transformation, and it's got this nice flexible hose. I didn't push it in all the way, but because I'm about to transform him, so you can take this out, and I guess you can attach it in all sorts of ways. Like, I guess this could be a weapon storage technically, otherwise, or in the back. Maybe, I'm trying to remember if this is, I think this would be a place where you would place the gun when he's for storage, when he's in the other mode. So take this out. I'll try to do this from what I can remember. It's not too hard. Well, first we'll get his head tucked in, like so, and then just push that in, and then his arms go out. Oops. that, and then lift this up over, and I think you're supposed to pull this out for now. It can actually go out all the way, but we'll get into that later. And then this is where it has to, like, you twist this in at an angle, because it has to, see how these are at an angle. Those tabs, they go into here, kind of like this, inside the middle one, like right inside this space here. You'll see, usually there's like a little, I don't know if you can see, there's like a little box, these two boxes, one right here, one right there. Come on, focus on me, not the background. I think it was trying to focus on the tank. Maybe I'm too close. But yeah, so anyways, hopefully you can see it there. And there's one, you want to do this, kind of line it, these tabs up to the space in between on there, right in the middle. So it kind of has to go through it at a diagonal. And this is the trickiest part, trying to just, and then these also kind of push in slightly too when you do that. But not too much, otherwise it's going to interfere right here. So it's a pretty precise fit and angle. I'm trying to remember how I did it. I just kind of push and pull it around like that, and then try to get these somewhat tight and parallel to each other. And then this will just fold in like this. And then you close this. Actually, this whole thing was not open yet. You just kind of do this, and then you fold it down, and it'll get really close to this front part, the cannon, but it won't like go through it, obviously. But you snap it down like so. Pretty simple. And then this is part where you spread his legs. You go out like that. Then you pull these pieces out like so. And then you want to combine these together, and you just let all the tabs that you can find kind of fit together as good as possible. There's going to be a slight space here. It doesn't close up this gap in here. And oh, you know what? I goofed up. Sorry. One extra step. I forgot. So we'll separate that. So you need to kind of collapse the legs a bit. So there's like that light purple part. It's kind of hinged. So then you can see this just kind of folds up or down and up and over like that. And then this does the same thing. I have to admit, later on when I transform them back, it's a little bit trickier to pull it out. But these just have to snap in, and this has to go here. And then this tab right here will go into there. So just kind of press it in as best you can. Take a little wiggle, but basically something like that. Almost there. And let's see, looking straight. Then what we need to do is open this up, these little wings. This is kind of like a command deck. You can kind of see like there's like some bit of windowing, I think, going on here. And this just goes to the side here. And basically it's like this. Some sort of spaceship, space cruiser or something. I think I could put this in a little tighter, but yeah, anyways. Should be something like this. And I mean, it's all right. Never seen him ever. I'm not sure what this is. Doesn't really represent anything, but you know, obviously you can use this. You can maybe put this tube away somewhere. I don't think it reaches back here. I mean, the old one used to have this piece and then like a flip up like sights that you can look down, and then I guess you can kind of hold it like this. Oh, oops. One last thing. This thing collapses into, see, right in here. This piece goes right in there like that, and that's where you can store this like that. Oh, and there's like a landing gear up front to put them down on the ground like that, so it looks more leveled. Otherwise, it doesn't be dipping down. But otherwise, if it's in flight mode, I guess you just push it back and look like that. And it's funny because like I used to do this with some guns of other things, make them into another ship or vehicle. Like for instance, the Macross or Robotech Valkyries, you know, the way their cannons look like. It looks like almost like a missile, or really looks more like a torpedo. It's kind of long, cylindrical, right? It's got these fins in the back and, you know, trigger. But I used to flip it upside down like this, and it looked kind of like a submarine in a way. And there is one other form that you take this out, and I guess you stick it back here. It seems kind of a stretch though. I guess it's doable, but then they collapse this into here, and then you can basically, instead like this, you use it like this with, I don't know what that's for. I guess it looks closer to the way that the gun is. It doesn't, you know, have actually any like grip on the bottom, like around here. So yeah, I mean, this form's alright. It's nothing, it can transform, but I would definitely not keep it in this form. This is not that appealing, to be honest. It's all about Shockwave and robot form. That's pretty much how you see them. So we'll do this in reverse somewhat really quickly. Let's see, I guess I can undo this part and then just start to separate this. And then try to get the legs to open up like that. And this should lock, or less lock again. And this one was a little bit trickier to pull out for some reason. There we go. And then I want to flip them around. You don't have to. I guess you could collapse it into here first, but and then just fit that in here like that. And I'll show you on this side. Just angle this so that this will line up this space in here. Right, so this still pivots, right? So make sure that when you do it, it's not too far up. That's not going to work. And not down here. Just make sure this lines up with the shape. Push it in. And that's basically it for the legs and feet. And then we're going to do his hands. It should flip out like, yeah, pretty sure this opens up on this side like this. I'll just raise this. There we go. Lift this up, out. Free his arms out to the side, and you can put them to the sides you want. And then this basically collapses down and back to his backpack, and these tabs back here go into these in here. That's it. And then just pull his head back out, and then just let this, just look around, just make sure, especially back here, there's these tabs back here behind the neck. These things, they fit into a spot back there. And just make sure it does that. Push it. And let's reattach the hose to his arm. It went down deeper, but that's fine. And there you go. Shockwave in all his glory. And overall, this, you know, it's a bit pricey, but then again, most Transformers these days are. It's kind of hard to avoid it. They're definitely gone up in price, but you know, what are you gonna do? So either try to buy secondary hopefully the price hasn't gone up on things, or despite the bullet, I guess. There are probably third-party alternatives out there, but you know, for official Hasbro, Takara, Tomiko Takara, I guess it's considered part of that. This is pretty decent. I do believe he is just a tad shorter than Soundwave, which in actuality I think they're either equal in height. If not, maybe he should be slightly taller. Again, they redid Soundwave pretty nicely, but this one I think it's again reused from Siege or Earthrise or something like that, I think, from before. And they just made some slight color tweaks, and basically a redeco. And I think this piece is new to this, and I think this used to be purple too. But I think he's pretty cool. I'm glad to finally have a good Shockwave back into my collection. And I recommend it. Supposedly these are have been showing up in, I think, Walmart. I don't think Target yet. Where else can you get them, right? But I had this again pre-ordered on Amazon. I guess they gave me the lowest price possible, about $42 or so. But I think these has been as much as retail, maybe closer to $50. Yeah, it's pricey, but I think. Oh yeah, there is another mode that he can transform into. It's like an arm cannon, like for, I believe you need the Combaticon Onslaught, and it'll become like a giant cannon arm for him, either for Onslaught or maybe perhaps for Bruticus. But I've never seen that, or at least I don't recall ever seeing that in the comics or cartoon series. So I don't know when Shockwave just became some sort of giant arm cannon for Bruticus or Onslaught, whichever one it is. And but I'm not going to show it because I don't even have that, which is on pre-order, but we'll see whenever the heck that comes in. Yeah, if I think this is still pretty nice, and again, I really like the piping to get the illumination in the Cyclops or the eye. Looks proper. All right, thanks for watching, and let's see. I'm working on modifying that. Some pieces are coming in, but the main thing would be the tracks, and that probably won't be till they're coming in from AliExpress. So that's going to be probably another week. But I do have some other things to do, some more kind of more or less show and tell box reviews, unboxing reviews, or whatever you want to call it. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.